Hello and welcome back to SGGT. Today, the big topic of 2025, the mini driver. 5 years ago they weren't a thing, but they're getting more and more in play. This morning we've all had a hit, and it's what we think and who they're aimed at, and let's have a chat about them and see what they are. Aaron, what's the options?
So you've got three options in our matrix. You've got TaylorMade R7 quad,
Okay.
based on the old Super Quad, that kind of cult classic that we all love.
Okay.
Titleist GT280.
Okay.
280 refers to the size, but the other one you've got is the Callaway Elite mini
Okay.
driver. So three really good options, quite different in what they offer.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the three distinct options that we've got in our matrix.
Okay.
There are other brands that do them, but that's what we're focusing on today.
James, what's the story with them? What's the crack with the Callaway?
Callaway is a proper mini driver.
Okay.
This is the kind of next iteration. We had like AI Smoke last year. They're really quite interesting. There's two heads, so there's an 11.5 and a 13.5.
Yeah.
And just like the Elite driver this year, there's the three movable weights around the back of the head. So if you need a wee bit more draw or a wee bit more fade, we can move that around.
Okay.
It's the same neck adapter as the driver, so -1, +1, +2, we can chop and change the lie angle there as well.
Yep.
There's loads and loads of versatility with that one. I think it's a really, really good product for this year.
Good. Titleist, Aaron?
GT280, so it's kind of, it doesn't say mini driver anywhere on the product. It's a 13-degree option. It's kind of like a big 3-wood.
Okay.
Like a jumbo 3-wood is what I would call it. 2-wood spoon, rather than a mini driver. But
The juice from back in the day.
yeah, same loft sleeve as the driver and the fairway woods.
Okay.
And it's just a different option in terms of what Callaway and TaylorMade offers. It's a bit smaller.
And the TaylorMade, James?
Last one, the R7 quad. This brings back like loads of memories. I used to have a TaylorMade Super Quad TP. What feels like forever ago now, and this is my kind of product.
Okay.
So we've got 4 weights. Last year with the burner, we had one heavy weight at the back, and it was interchangeable with a light weight at the front.
Okay.
So you can have higher spin or kind of lower, or higher launch and lower spin.
Yep. Okay.
This one goes back to the quad weighting system with 4 weights.
Okay.
So there's 2 13-gram weights and there's 2 3-gram weights in the head.
Okay.
So there's an awful lot more adjustability. It's way less spin, way higher launch, way more fade, way more draw.
Yeah.
And then we've got like those in-between settings there as well. Really, really solid.
TaylorMade's mini drivers have always been a throwback to something that they've done yesteryear.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
burner. Now you've got the Super Quad kind of newer version of it. What was one before? It was they had 2 burners, didn't they?
We
Yeah.
have 2 burners. Like they definitely kind of know how to like press the nostalgia button.
Yeah.
I think the wee sort of Easter eggs inside the head covers, like
Yeah.
the market department's
Inside out.
done a really good job of that. But I think the product is excellent. It's a proper 2025 variant. It stands up. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
There's loads of good product this year.
Right, we'll have a look at some of the shots that we hit earlier. Let's just say I had a few takes to get to where we got to. And I get to go through my warm-up routine.
That looked good.
That was good.
That's good.
I'm just about to chop a slice, it seems. Good, James.
Yep.
And that would do.
Fore. Good.
That was better.
Nice.
Look at that.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
And that would do.
Fore. Good. Aaron, what do you think? First one, what do we go first? We hit TaylorMade first.
R7 first, yeah.
Looks?
Clean, yeah, nice. I like it. I like the look from the top. Feel off the face. It's kind of a bit like their older titanium drivers.
Yeah.
Kind of felt a little bit simmy, which is never a bad thing. That came out my mouth and it sounded negative, but I say that as a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more like a traditional titanium TaylorMade driver.
James? TaylorMade?
It was the one that hit the furthest. So it launched really quite nicely. It came out on a kind of mid window for me. Carry sort of 245, rolling out to 260. It's a really, really good thing for me.
And it went straight.
It went straight. It's amazing. I really had a lot of time for the R7 quads. That was my favourite one.
Good. So TaylorMade for me, yeah. As I say, I've played it for ages. This was familiar. Me trying this, it could have said burner on the back of it. I think the movable weights, if we spent ages and really fine tune it, I could probably got it going even better again. But it just looks how I want it to look. I feel confident with it. I can hit it off the deck. I can do whatever I need to do with it. I'm quite confident playing golf with this now. That it's not hindering me, that's for sure. If anything, it's helping. Callaway, Aaron?
Callaway was really similar to AI Smoke and how it felt off the face. I didn't think there was much to differentiate the two. I mean, you could have told me it was an AI Smoke, and again, I don't say that as a bad thing. I thought that was a good mini driver. For those that have got AI Smoke, having that little adjustable weight on the back, I think is going to give them just a different option.
Yeah. James, Callaway?
Callaway launched a wee bit higher for me.
Okay.
Which would make sense because all the weight is at the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of having weights that you can flip around like we had last year with the AI Smoke, all of it's concentrated in the back of the head. So it's maybe one of those things you need to dig more into the loft sleeve if we're going to try and remove spin in one way.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to the driver that they'll launch nice and high. So it wasn't quite the window that I want to see with my ball flight, but it still felt very solid. It's a good looking head.
I think that the Callaway is something that you could put in as a driver. It looks like a small driver. It doesn't look like a big 3-wood. I know that sounds really daft, but it looks like a smaller version of a driver. And if that's what you're after, I think the one off the deck that I tried, it didn't feel quite as easy as maybe the other two felt off the deck. It feels more like a driver kind of profile than the others. Titleist, James, what do you think?
Titleist, it definitely looks more like a big 3-wood.
Yeah.
I think looking at the three of them sort of side by side, the Titleist, because the head's just a little bit smaller, it's more 3-wood-esque. It's not the one that I sort of resonated the most with. I think, again, having a weight at the back and the front, if we need to try and take some spin off, we've got loads of choice with that. You can really utilise the neck sleeve going up and down that one as well. But it's definitely more, just exactly how you said, Aaron, it's more of a fairway wood replacement rather than the kind of category of mini driver. It's a really, really solid product though.
And that's exactly how it felt. It felt like a 3-wood, which I really liked. It's on
Yeah.
a slightly higher tee, feels like a 3-wood. It feels like the centre, and this might be completely wrong when I say it, but it feels like the centre of gravity is closer to the face than anything else. Unless you were to flip the weights on the R7, but if you're playing them in the stock position, Callaway, the weights at the back, this one feels like it's just a little bit closer to the face. Probably a little bit less forgiving because of it.
Yeah.
But just like a 3-wood, so I like that the most.
Yeah, for me, if it was to replace a 3-wood, I think it would maybe get the nod for me. Like, I like what it does. and I like how it looks, and I like everything about it, and it flew quite nicely. For me, I'm wanting my mini driver to be as hot as possible, and the Titleist definitely isn't as hot as the other two. So as I say, for me personally, I'm wanting to replace a driver with a mini driver, so I don't think the Titleist does that. But I definitely see if I was the guy that played driver confidently and I needed a fairway wood that was strong, I think it's an amazing option.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
There's loads of good product this year.
What stood out for you, Aaron? If you were to play one of them, what would you play and why would you play it?
I would play, so if I was going to play mini driver, and it's crossed my mind, driver is one of my strengths. So what I would use it for is a backup tee ball.
Okay.
So I would take 3-wood out to put it in. So I'd be leaving driver in. So I play GT3. So that GT280, in terms of what I can do with the sleeve and how it sits and how it looks, that's the one that stood out most for me. I found it to be the lower spinning, and I would want it to be around about that 13-degree option. Because I'm replacing 3-wood, I don't want the 11.5. It probably just goes a bit too far. If I was replacing driver, I would be closer to going into that head.
Yeah.
But I liked the profile, I liked the feel, and I just thought it was a really, really beefy 3-wood.
Okay.
That's why I like the Titleist.
James?
I think the quad is the one for me. The way that I hit it, I end up kind of launching the ball quite high with everything. So less loft is definitely my friend.
Yeah.
I use like an 8-degree driver. The 11.5 R7 quad, that was the head that really sort of stuck out at me. And I like it that it can kind of move move a lot of weight further forward and take that spin down. It was the one of the three that I certainly hit the best.
I'm probably the same as you, to be fair. I've had a burner for a few years now, and I've not really any rhyme or reason to change it. The R7 feels really similar. It's a really good head, and I think for somebody looking for a new mini driver, it's a great solution. I'll have to really do some proper testing between that and the burner and see how much difference there was.
Yeah.
But the concept's there, it's similar. I've got the 11.5. Quite often, I'll just leave driver in the house and just take that, and it does what I want it to do.
Yeah.
I think when I look at the three of them, the Titleist does just look like a big 3-wood for me, and I think that's away from what I want it to do. But the Callaway's almost the other end of that argument. It looks identical to the driver in a smaller thing.
Yeah.
And it looks really good, and it sits really good. It just doesn't sit how I want it to sit. Whereas the TaylorMade, especially if I've got it in a lower setting as well, I can get it to sit exactly how I want it to sit. And then playing about with the weights, I think again I could stop it going left, and I think it would work really, really nicely.
And that's going to be a big part of these. If you're going into mini driver, it's a 3-wood replacement or it's a driver replacement, and it's very flight and feel dependent. Like, it's going to go as far as it's going to go. You'll get more out of a driver, but if you can't keep driver on the planet, this is a really good substitute to go into. And then how it looks, how it sits is going to play a big role.
Definitely.
I think attack angle is massive. For the guys with a downward attack angle, we see it loads that 3-wood goes just about as far as driver.
Yeah.
And I think when you've got something like this, I'm definitely in that category that on the days that I'm playing it well with a mini driver, I don't think I'll hit big driver actually past it anyway. My technique with driver isn't good enough to optimise the modern day driver. It's designed to be hit up in the air with no spin.
Yeah.
Older drivers, there was a guy trading an R7 the other week, and I was having a whack of it just for a bit of a laugh, and it was 8 degrees or whatever else, but it launched low and spun higher, and it held it in the sky, and it was a flight that I used to actually drive it pretty well, and it looked like how I used to drive it.
Yeah.
And it was the opposite of the modern day driver, that it definitely favours itself to the guy who has a better attack angle. The guy that delivers driver really, really well will get really, really good outcome with it, whereas the guy that doesn't deliver driver quite so well, then maybe then becomes a good option for them in the mini drivers.
I think one thing with the mini drivers, when golfers are coming in to be fitted, it's really good for them to know exactly what they're looking to try and achieve from this.
Yep.
So the guys who I've had to certainly hit the ball like a whole lot longer, statistically, like you don't really play 3-wood as a second shot because you're long enough anyway.
Yeah.
So that golfer, it's like a replacement off the tee. That it's a much, much larger head. It's far more forgiving
Safer
than
option.
than a 3-wood's going to be. But because it's got enough loft and it's going to play like a wee bit shorter, it doesn't then quite touch driver. So it's that like sort of safer option off the tee where drivers maybe like the wrong plates, the wrong flighters maybe just goes too far, but it's a far more forgiving one. But then we see the opposite side of that there as well, that I think there's fewer golfers like this, but guys who just can't look down at like the big driver, the head just doesn't make any sense to them.
Yeah.
I think this is then the one that you can make it look a bit old school.
It picks it up amazing off the deck. I had a lad in on Friday who wanted a 3-wood, but he wanted a 3-wood to come out really hot. It was purely for par 5s that he couldn't quite reach into. He wanted something that could leather as hard as he can get it going. And the R7 was amazing. Off the deck, the flight was like a bullet going off. But he could tee up a little bit higher and hit it off a tee if he wanted to. But off the deck, it was so flat. It was faster than any 3-wood in the bay, quite significantly. But I allowed him to hit it off the deck as well. So it gave him loads and loads of options.
The good thing with our Matrix as well is you take a normal 3-wood shaft, you put it into a mini driver head, and because the head's a little bit longer and the hossel's a little bit longer, it plays at about 43.75.
Yeah, you're close anyway.
Yeah, so it plays longer than a 3-wood, but nowhere near as long as driver. So if we're looking for something to try and get a bit more consistency out of, it is a really good option.
Yeah, definitely.
So guys, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
It's good fun.
And thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to come in and try the mini drivers yourself, head over to the website at sggt.co.uk. It'd be great to get you in the studio and see what the mini drivers are capable of doing. For more videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. There'll be more content coming regularly. Thanks.